The chamber was magnificent, a cathedral of crystalline spires that reached toward artificial stars. 12 species sat in judgment, each more advanced than humanity could dream of being. Captain Elena Vasquez stood alone in the center, her dress uniform crisp despite the 30-hour journey through fold space. Above her, High Counselor Thexari, a being of pure energy contained in an elegant lattice, spoke with the weight of 10,000 years. Captain Vasquez of Earth, the voice resonated through every molecule in the room. Humanity's application to join the Galactic Alliance has been reviewed. Elena's jaw tightened. That pause said everything. Your species shows promise in creativity and social adaptation, Counselor Vorenik added, his 6 eyes blinking in sequence. However, you lack the fundamental requirements. Physical resilience. A hologram displayed a Krith warrior tanking plasma fire without flinching. Technological superiority. The Tlon representative gestured to quantum processors that operated across 17 dimensions. Psychic capability. A Mindweaver demonstrated telepathic control over an entire simulated fleet. Military strength. The Warcath's battle records showed planets conquered in days. Elena remained silent, hands clasped behind her back. She'd expected this. Humans are adequate, Thexari concluded. But adequacy does not earn a seat at this table. You are too fragile, too primitive, too breakable. The galaxy is dangerous, Captain. We cannot protect a species that shatters under pressure. With respect, High Counselor, Elena's voice cut through the chamber, we're not asking for protection. Murmurs rippled through the assembled aliens. Then what are you asking for? Thexari asked, genuinely curious. A chance to prove you wrong. Act 2, The Gauntlet. Scene, Deep Space, Contested Zone, 2 months later. The Defiant, humanity's first and only deep space cruiser, drifted through the debris field of what had once been a mining colony. Elena walked through the observation deck, her crew silent around her. Captain, Lieutenant Chen spoke up from Tactical. We're receiving the coordinates. On the main screen, the Galactic Council's seal appeared. High Counselor Thexari's voice followed. Captain Vasquez. Since your passionate speech, the Council has debated extensively. We've decided to offer humanity one opportunity. Elena's eyes narrowed. I'm listening. The void reaches, a sector where reality itself fractures. 3 Council expeditions have entered. None returned. Retrieve the black box from the survey ship Infinite Horizon, and humanity will be reconsidered. That's a suicide mission, Commander Park stated flatly from engineering. Yes, Thexari agreed without hesitation. But you asked for a chance. This is it. Refuse, and humanity's application is permanently denied. The transmission ended. Elena stared at the star map. The void reaches glowed red, a warning no sane captain would ignore. All hands, she activated ship-wide comms. This is the captain. I won't lie to you. What we're about to do is probably impossible. The Council expects us to fail. They're counting on us to fail. We can turn back right now, and no one would blame us. She paused, letting that sink in. But here's what I know about humans, we don't do impossible very well. We put footprints on our moon with computers less powerful than your wristwatch. We split the atom before we invented the internet. We've died by the millions for ideas, for each other, for the sheer bloody-minded principle of the thing. So here's my question, do we prove them right? Or do we show them what breakable really means? The response was immediate. Chen grinned. Park cracked his knuckles. Across every deck, the crew's answer echoed through the intercom. Let's break some expectations, Captain. Act 3, Into the Void. Scene, The Void Reaches, Week 1. The first week, they lost navigation. Space twisted in ways that made the ship's AI crash 3 times. They navigated by gut feeling and dead reckoning, ancient human skills the aliens had forgotten. The second week, they lost communications. The void swallowed radio waves, quantum entanglement, even light itself. They left physical beacons, metal drums with chemical lights, like breadcrumbs through a nightmare. Week 3, they found the first wreck. Valorient, Chen read from the corroded hull. Krith battle cruiser. Built to withstand the heart of a star. It had been torn open like tissue paper. Something had pulled it apart at the molecular level. Inside, they found the Krith crew. Or what remained. Their legendary resilience meant they'd lived longer than they should have. "They're not dead," Dr. Okonkwo reported, horrified. "They're stuck. Consciousness trapped in failing bodies. They've been aware for months, maybe years." The void doesn't kill, Elena realized. It preserves. Keeps you alive in your worst moment forever. "Captain," Park's voice cracked over the localized comms. "We should go back." "We can't. We end their suffering first," Elena interrupted. "Then we decide." It took 6 hours to find and destroy the Valorian's core, finally granting the Krith warriors peace. As the explosion faded, Elena gathered her senior staff. The council sent their strongest, smartest, most resilient species. All failed because they tried to outlast the void, overpower it, outthink it. They used their strengths. "And humans?" Okonkwo asked. "We're going to use our weakness." Act 4, The Breakthrough. Scene, Heart of the Void, Week 4. "This is insane," Park muttered as they suited up. "That's kind of our specialty," Chen replied. Elena checked her oxygen levels one last time. "Everyone clear on the plan?" Her team nodded. They understood. They didn't like it, but they understood. The infinite horizon floated at the void center, where spacetime folded in on itself like a cosmic origami. Sensor readings were meaningless here. Gravity came from 6 directions at once. Light moved in curves. They couldn't pilot the ship closer without it tearing apart. So they did something no other species had considered. They walked. Humans evolved as persistence hunters, Elena had explained. We're not fast, strong, or tough. But we can keep going. We can endure. We can walk. So they walked through impossible space. When gravity reversed, they used magnetic boots. When reality fractured, they held onto each other. When the void whispered promises of eternal rest, they sang, terrible, off-key human songs that drove back the silence. This is ground control to Major Tom. We all live in a yellow submarine. Never gonna give you up, never gonna let you down. The void recoiled from their defiance. It was designed to break the strong, trap the clever, outlast the resilient. But humans? Humans were already broken. They were fragile, mortal things who carried their wounds like badges. They knew they would die, hell, they threw parties about it, wrote songs, made it part of their culture. You can't break what's already comfortable being breakable. 7 hours later, Elena's gloved hand touched the infinite horizon's hull. We're in. Act V, The Truth. Scene, inside the infinite horizon. The black box sat in the ship's bridge, surrounded by the desiccated remains of the Tlon crew, the most psychically advanced species in the galaxy. They died clawing at their own skulls, trying to shut out the void's whispers. Elena downloaded the data while her team secured the perimeter. As the files loaded, her eyes widened. Chen. Get over here. The tactical officer jogged over, then stopped cold. Is that? The void isn't natural, Elena breathed. It's a weapon. An ancient one. The first races that found it tried to study it, control it. She scrolled through the data, it learns. It adapts. It finds your strengths and turns them into prisons. The council knew, Chen realized. They knew we'd probably die here. No. Elena's eyes hardened. They knew we'd definitely die here. This was never a test. It was an execution. A way to eliminate a potential rival without bloodshed. So what do we do? Elena looked at the black box, then at her crew, then at the twisted space outside the windows. A smile, cold and terribly human, crossed her face. We show them what happens when you underestimate the breakable. Act 6, The Return. Scene, Galactic Council Chamber, 6 weeks later. The Council had already written humanity's obituary. 4 species had volunteered to divide Earth's solar system. The vote was tomorrow. Then the Defiant emerged from Fold space. It was held together with welded plates, emergency patches, and what appeared to be duct tape. One engine was dead. The hull was scorched. But it flew. Elena walked into the council chamber wearing a patched pressure suit and carrying the black box. Her crew followed, limping, bandaged, exhausted, but alive. Thexari's energy matrix flickered in what might have been shock. Impossible. So we've heard, Elena replied. She placed the black box on the central podium. Your survey data, as requested. The Infinite Horizon's final report reveals the Void's nature, a weapons system from the First Age. We also mapped safe passage routes and identified the Void's weakness. What weakness? Vorenak leaned forward with all 6 eyes. It requires energy to operate. Specifically, biological energy. The stronger the consciousness, the more it feeds. Your strongest warriors, your greatest minds, they're all-you-can-eat buffets. Elena tapped the box. But humans? We're mostly empty calories. Not worth the effort. While it was busy trying to break us, we walked right through its defenses. You, starved it? A Mindweaver asked, incredulous. We're very good at being underestimated. Silence fell over the chamber. Then High Counselor Thexari spoke. You realize we expected you to fail. This was designed to eliminate your species diplomatically. I know, Elena said flatly. I figured that out around week 3. And yet you proceeded. Of course. You gave us a challenge. Humans don't quit just because something's impossible, deadly, and rigged against us. Hell, that's when we're most dangerous. Another pause. Then. Why bring back the data? You could have kept the safe routes secret. Used them for humanity's advantage. Elena looked Thexari directly in his energy matrix. Because that's not who we are. You tested whether we could survive your worst. Now you know. We're not the strongest. We're not the smartest. We're not the most resilient. She gestured to her battered crew. But we're the ones who walked through hell, mapped the road, and came back to share the directions. Because when you knock humans down, we don't stay down. We get up. We learn. We adapt. We endure. And we remember who pushed us.